بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Today's lesson on the jurisprudential maxims is a maxim, قاعدة, that is named البينة على المدعي. The proof is upon the plaintiff. واليمين, the oath, upon the defendant. على من أنكر. So this is the English and the Arabic wording of it. And it is in regard to two parties when they have a conflict and disagreement and they go to the court. When they go to the court, this is the main framework of the judge. This is the first thing the judge does are these two things. He would ask the plaintiff, which is mudda'i. Mudda'i comes from iddi'a. Iddi'a is a claim. Iddi'a. Iddi'a is the one who's claiming a claim or alleging or suing. It's called mudda'i, plaintiff. So the mudda'i has to bring a proof. And what is the proof? What is the proof? So when they go to the court, Dr. Ali, two parties, Assalamu alaikum. When they go to the court, the judge is going to use this maxim. The maxim that states the proof is upon the one who's suing, the plaintiff, the mudda'i, the one who's claiming, and the oath is upon the defendant. Now, which one comes first? This one comes first. Proof upon the plaintiff. So if he has a proof, then, and his proof is convincing, then the turn does not even reach the second one. He would win the case. Now, what is the proof? The proof could be what? Mostly, bayina is what? Bayina, in the past, when you used to say bayina, your mind goes right away to the witness. But now, with modern technology, it's not necessarily a person, a witness. It could be other means. So one of the proofs is a witness or witnesses. Witnesses, okay? Sometimes the judge asks for 2 witnesses, sometimes for 4 witnesses, sometimes for more. It depends on the case. Is it murder? Murder, how many witnesses they want? No. In the murder, they require 2, but 2 just witnesses, trustworthy and honest. In the fornication, how many? 4. See, make it difficult. Murder, which is worse, requires only 2. But the other one requires 4. So, what is the other types? What are the other types of proofs that could be presented when you are suing someone in the court? So you have to bring bayina. The bayina, you say, I gave him $2,000 and he's denying. And you have witnesses. So if you have a witness, you have a witness. You win the case. If you don't have a witness, there is no physical witness. Today's time, what can be used?
Contract?
Written contract, it could be used. If there is a written contract with signature, then this is a bayina also. It could be used as a witness or as a proof. What else? In today's...
So this is a new maxim, or?
This is a maxim, yes.
Proof about
The maxim says, البينة على المدعي واليمين على من أنكر. The proof in the court, the proof is upon the plaintiff, the one who's suing, and the innocence, being innocence, has to be proved during through the oath of the defendant. But then, first the judge does not begin with the oath, with the defendant. He begins with this one. So if this one presents a reasonable and acceptable proof, then the turn does not come to this guy. The first one is going to win the case. So either witnesses, physical witnesses, human beings, or it could be cameras nowadays. It's an accident. Okay, an accident that happened, or someone came, he threw something. He threw a fire bomb somewhere. We saw him in the camera. We saw his face. Or he was hitting someone else, assaulting him. He was stealing from the bank, from the liquor store. Is
it because it's like it's a vision?
Yes.
Like witnesses,
Exactly. Because the camera does the job of a human witness. So the judge can use it. If he verifies that this is the same person, if the picture is very clear and it shows the person himself. And sometimes there is date, time, date, So this can be used today. Not necessarily a living witness. It could be a camera. The camera could be a witness. Or in some cases, like childbirth, and who belongs to, what they use?
DNA.
أحسنت. DNA. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. DNA for alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. DNA is used for someone who says, this is my dad, but he didn't say that I have a son from another wife. And now he's dead and I have a share in his mirath, in his inheritance. So they do the DNA. The DNA, it could be like a witness, okay? Or in other cases, they can use the DNA. Or even a crime, the crime. Someone is killed. We find a piece of hair or blood from the assailant. We check it with the DNA. We examine it through DNA. So he could be convicted through the DNA. So a bayina, it could be a way that we are sure that this is a witness. It does not have to be real witness who says, I was standing there. I saw this. It could be through other ways.
But here, I think in the court here, the law, the camera is not the witness, I think. Or maybe now they are using it. But it's not
No?
a proof of...
Really? Because from the news that we watch every night, sometimes I see in the court, they put a clip of the crime or the accident or whatever that happened. They use it in the court as an evidence. Maybe not the sole evidence, they do not depend on it entirely, but one of the ways to prove, the crime. So if he has al-bayna, if he brings bayna, then he wins the case. If he doesn't have bayna, no camera, no DNA, no written document, no signature, no witnesses, and he says, I lent him money, I gave him money, or he's the one who attacked me in the street. He's the one who robbed my house. He's the one who destroyed my whatever. And he doesn't have a witness. Some of them, they go to the court and he says, Allah is the witness. Allah watched. Yeah, we agree. Allah watches everything, but you have to prove it to the judge. Convince the judge. If he doesn't, then the turn comes to the defendant. Ankar, al-munkir. Munkir is the defendant, the one who's defending himself. What does he use here? He uses the oath. Al-qasam al-shar'i. Qasam al-shar'i, what is it? If you go to Iraq, to the villagers, the most important qasam in Iraq is Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. They don't lie. They lie. If they say by God, he lies. By the Quran, he lies. Prophet Muhammad. But when you tell him Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, he says no. Then he confesses. Believe me, this is a reality. Because they fear Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. They fear him. They don't fear God. They don't fear the Prophet. But Abu al-Fadl, no kidding. Abu al-Fadl is serious. They say he slaps on the face. Abu al-Fadl, if you say something lie and you use his name, okay, then he would slap you. So they really fear. I was a child, and my house, I showed you where my house was, next to the shrine of Abu al-Fadl. I used to see people coming from villages, from towns, from cities, all over Iraq. They stand there in the courtyard, and before Abu al-Fadl Abbas, he tells them, okay, swear, take an oath. He doesn't. He doesn't dare to take an oath. So they speak the truth. But this is not used in the court. It's used as a settlement among the tribes, ashair, people, families. But in the court, this is not a shar'i qasam, not a religious oath. Religious oath is the name of Allah. How is that? This is the oath. Wallah. Wallah. By Allah. Tallah. Tallah. It's in the Quran. وَتَاللَّهِ لَأَكِيدَنَّ أَصْنَامَكُمْ. Ibrahim alayhi salam says, Tallah. Tallah. Wallah. Tallah. Or Billah. 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 Tallah. Wallah. These are the shar'i qasam that are used in the court. Okay? Some people, they put their hand on the Quran. You don't have to put your hand on the Quran or the Bible. So this is the qasam. The defendant, he uses a qasam that I did not do that, he would be set free. Now, there are some cases we studied that does not reach this stage. Doesn't reach the court. Such as what? We just studied that 2 days ago. When you leave a trust with a person and the person tells you it's lost, it's stolen, it's destroyed. If that person is trustworthy, then the case does not even reach the court. Doesn't reach the court. Doesn't reach this stage. Okay? These are special cases. But normal cases, when it goes to the court, this is the case. Now, Imam al-Khomeini has a view. He says in his book, لو لم يكن للمدعي بينة. The plaintiff did not have a proof. He didn't have it. He came to the court empty-handed. He's asserting that this person, he assaulted me. He stole my money. He took my money, but no proof. None of these. He could not bring. لو لم يكن للمدعي بينة. واستحلف المنكر. The judge asks the defendant to take the oath. استحلف. Istuhlif means he was asked to take the oath. فحلف. He would take the oath that I did not take the money. It's not me. سقطت الدعوة. The suing case is dropped against the defendant and he's freed. So the plaintiff cannot ask him in the future. That's it. The case is dropped, dismissed. The case is dismissed if this person, he uses the oath. There is no retrial again. Doesn't go to retrial, or in the future after many years, again this guy comes and tells him, hey, you took my money, remember? You stole my money, you did this to me. The case is completely dismissed if this person would use the oath, the religious oath. Huh?
Even if later they find proof, let's say later they find a camera and it shows something different.
No. Later, if they find a proof, yes, even after 50 years.
Okay.
If this person can bring a proof, then the case is never dead.
Okay.
But this, in case there is no proof.
Yeah, Khomeini, so his version is there's no retrial. Is that the special case?
Yes, yes. He says فحلف سقط الدعوى المدعي في ظاهر الشرع فليس له بعد الحلف مطالبة حقه ولا مقاصه ولا رفع الدعوى إلى الحاكم ولا تسمع دعواه. Imam Khomeini, he says, after this half, the case is closed. That even in the future, the plaintiff does not have the right to claim again or to bring his case again to the judge.
Even with evidence?
This is what it, in his book, تحرير الوسيلة. This is what we understand. ولا تسمع دعوة. Then again, he's not heard in the future. He's not here. The case ends here with this one. Okay? Probably for him, the oath is more important than the proof. Okay? Then, Sayyid al-Khoi has an opinion. He says, لا تثبت الدعوى في الحدود إلا بالبينة والإقرار. There is one case that the oath does not work. What is it? What case is that? The case of capital punishment. The case of capital punishment, which is called hudud. تلك حدود الله. Hudud. In the judiciary, Islamic judiciary vocabulary, the capital punishments are called hudud. Hudud, someone brings a witness that, al-'iyadhu billah, someone has fornicated. And he has 4 witnesses. And those witnesses are just. And they speak the details. Then the defendant cannot use the half. No, wallah al-'azim, I didn't do that. Here it's not used. These are in financial affairs and disagreements, but not in murder. This is assault, someone assaults someone, theft. But in murder, fornication, these things, the proof, either bayina, witnesses, they use witnesses, okay, and iqrar. Beside witnesses, iqrar. What is iqrar? Confession. Iqrar of the defendant. So how capital punishments are approved in the court? Number 1, witnesses, bayina. You have a witness. And in this case, the camera does not work. Doesn't work anymore. It has to be a witness who sees the actual act live, not witness, not through camera. They say exactly, they specify. They say not through a third party, live.
Is this for all capital punishment?
No, this is for fornication. Okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah. So it has to be proved through a witness or witnesses, or the second way of proving it, the person himself or herself, they come forward and they confess. Iqrar. Iqrar.
So no camera can be used for the second one?
No. No.
Okay.
No camera can use it. No.
So for
They
that,
make it very difficult.
yeah. I'm sorry, for capital punishment, then, there's no oath, there's no even an oath, you don't go to that part at all. So-
No. No, it doesn't go to the part.
Yeah,
It doesn't go to this one. No.
okay,
Because you
It's
either
not
have your
gone.
witnesses or if
Exactly,
it's done.
exactly. It's done.
yeah,
He doesn't have to say the oath.
yeah,
So either you bring a witness, the plaintiff, or the defendant confesses.
right.
This is how it is approved. If the defendant does not confess and you don't have a witness, the case is dropped. It does not reach the oath.
Because they're mentioned in the Quran or the Hadith for the,
Exactly, because the witness for these cases are mentioned in the Quran.
okay,
And the court, they make it very hard to prove these two things, especially murder and fornication. They make it very hard to prove it. So the term does not reach the oath. The oath is for financial disagreements, theft, assault, things like that.
Say it, sorry.
Yes.
So if it isn't a capital punishment and someone provides proof and then they still have the opportunity to give an oath?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Non-capital punishment. If that person, the plaintiff, does not have a witness or his witnesses are not reasonable or acceptable, then the defendant can defend himself through the oath. Non-capital punishment.
But if the witnesses are just and it's a not capital punishment, it won't go to the oath also?
No, it doesn't go to the oath. Yeah, because this one can prove through witnesses. So it doesn't go to the... Even if he says, in the middle, he starts shouting, Wallah, Wallah, the judge tells him, relax, because we have witnesses in this case. The second qaida, my friends, are we done with this? Are we done with this?
yes.
Okay. The second maxim is the maxim of binding, qa'idatul ilzam. The maxim of binding. قاعدة الإلزام. قاعدة الإلزام. What does that mean? Ilzam means in Islam we have different schools of thought. And sometimes Sunni people go to a Shia judge, a Shia imam, to rule. Sometimes the Christians, Jews, others, they go to someone who's Shia. So how should he give his verdict? If, let's take the Shia Sunni case. If the case is similar between the verdict of the case is the same between Shias and Sunnis, then the problem is solved. We have no problem. But sometimes the verdict is different. And this maxim depends, the madrak of it, the proof, upon the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. عن رسول الله صلى الله ألزموهم بما ألزموا به أنفسهم ألزموهم بما ألزموا به أنفسهم. This is, of course, one of the ahadith. There are others from our imams to the same effect.
Can you translate it?
bind them, ألزموهم, bind them. Bind them to whatever they binded themselves with. To whatever they, meaning the other party, non-Shias, they binded themselves with. Meaning, ask them to follow their own rules, simply. As simple as that. Ask them to follow their own rules and regulations when they differ with you. Such as what? Can you give me a case? Yes, there are cases. Cases in divorce. In divorce, the Sunni madhahib, most of them, they accept a 3 divorce in one session. If a husband tells his wife 3 times, أنت طالق, أنت طالق, أنت طالق, or does not have to be anti, طالق, طالق, طالق. That's it. She becomes, the divorce is irrevocable. He cannot return to her. Of course, this is contrary to the Quran. The Quran says, الطلاق مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان فإن طلقها, the 3rd time, فلا تحل له. Quran says it has to be in 3 different sessions. If a husband divorces his wife now, okay, and then before the end of the iddah, he goes back to her. So he can go back to her. Then he gets angry another time and he divorces her 2nd time. He can go back to her. Then the 3rd time, if he divorces her, he cannot go back to her until what? Aywa Ahsant. Until she goes and she marries someone else, permanent marriage, and the marriage is consummated, and then if that person divorces her, then she can go back to her first husband.
So divorce, then can go back, then divorce.
She can go back.
Turn.
3rd time, she cannot go back until she marries someone else.
After the 2nd divorce, then she has to marry somebody else first.
Yes. After the 3rd divorce, not the 2nd
Or after the
divorce.
3rd divorce.
That was the case. But Umar, during his time, there was a surge in divorce during his time. A surge in divorce. For some reasons. I don't know. Poverty or wars or whatever. So he made that someone who really wanted to get rid of his wife. He doesn't like her. He made it easy for them to expedite the divorce. So he allowed them to do 3 divorces in one session so she can go. She would never be able to come back to this guy. She would go to another person. When Umar was asked, why did you do this? Wasn't it in 3 sessions, supposed to be in 3 sessions? Why did you make it in one session? He said, I make it easy for people because some people, they don't want to go back to their wives. So I made it easy for them. They expedite that. They make it express in 3 sessions, divorce, divorce, divorce. So the wife would never be able, religiously she cannot go back. Even if she wants to go back to her husband. Even he wants to go back to her, they can't unless she goes to another person. She marries another person, and that person, if he chooses to divorce her, then she can come back to her husband. Contrary to the wording of the Quran.
So what happened? Sorry.
So,
Less paperwork.
huh?
Less paperwork.
He said less paperwork. This is what he said.
So after the 1st and 2nd divorce, do they have to remarry or they can just
Ha.
automatically get together?
It depends. If the iddah has not finished the 3rd period, 1 day before, 1 hour before the 3rd period, they can go back without aqd, without nikah. But if the iddah has finished 3 months, even 1 day, she saw the third blood, then she has to do a new nikah in order for her to go back to him.
So if those couple that based on the Sunni, they divorce this way, comes to a Shia.
This is the case. This is what we are studying. If both of them are Sunnis, not one, both the husband and the wife are Sunnis, and he says to her, divorce, divorce, divorced. Okay? And of course, in the Sunni tradition, they don't need a witness. In the Shia tradition, they need a witness. Even if the husband tells his wife, you are divorced, but there are no two witnesses, the divorce does not work. But in the Sunni tradition, they don't need a witness. They can argue in the middle of the night in the room, and 3 times he shouts, divorce, divorce, divorce. Then, unfortunately, she is separated from him. Now they come to a Shia Imam. The Shia Imam, though the process is wrong, but he has to rule according to their conviction, to their tradition. Alzimuhum. Why? Because of this. They have to follow.
Sorry, so what happens after the 3rd time? Let's say she does marry somebody else and then she divorces him and goes back to the first person.
Yes.
Then he decides to
Divorce her 3 times again. She go back to another person. Then if he divorced her 3 times, the 9th times, perpetually she cannot go back to him. Even if she marries 500 men after that.
Well, so you get 3 rounds, pretty much.
He has a 3 rounds. The 9th divorce, permanently she becomes muharrama, forbidden for them to go back to each other. After the 9th divorce. And I've seen people do it 900 times, mashallah. Every night they have divorce session. Believe me, they fight. But this is, out of anger, I don't know. Sometimes we don't consider it.
So are you saying then with this, then you tell them so they come to you saying, according to your rules, you have to follow this, or do you just say, no, I can't even give
No. I tell them, according to your rules, she's divorced from you. She has to go and marry someone else. You can't go back to her.
You can't change that? I know.
How do we change it? They should change it.
No, I mean...
unless they convert.
Okay.
If they convert, then this is a new rules applies to them.
Oh, well.
Both of them have to convert, or just one of them?
At least one. At least the husband. At least one of them. One of them has to convert, so the rules applies to that person.
Now, when you say divorce, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
3 times, isn't it usually out of anger? Like, does that count?
Of course, always out of anger.
Because you count.
This is why Islam says you are not allowed to do 3 in one session, because he knows there is anger there.
Right.
And this is why in the Shia Islam we need witnesses, so at least they calm down, they find a witness in the morning, not in the middle of the night when there is no witness.
So in Shia, if he says it with no witnesses, he's mad.
It's not.
It's not valid.
No, it's not
But in
valid.
Sunni, if he's mad, it's 1 in the morning, and he says it, it's valid.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. The other case, yes.
Do Sunnis wait at that time or not?
Some of them they wait. Some of them.
Even in Shia, you
The
say divorce.
iddah, it is in the Sunni tradition, of course. The iddah, they have it. Yeah. The other case is the case of marriage. In the Shia tradition, for marriage, you don't need a witness. You can marry someone secretly, without a witness, just you and her.
Even permanently?
Even permanent. It is mustahab. A witness is mustahab. Unlike the divorce. Divorce, a witness, 2 witnesses at least, just witnesses, is mandatory. Otherwise, the divorce does not go through. Whereas in the marriage, the witness is recommended, but it is not mandatory. The marriage can go through. Even the permanent one, definitely. It can be done secret. Nobody knows. You, her, and God. But in the Sunni tradition, the marriage does not go through unless you have witnesses. Therefore, according to this qaida, ilzam, if Sunni couples, they get married without witnesses. And then they come to the Shia Imam and they ask him about this. Would that be accepted or not? The Shia Imam will say, no, you are not married. So suppose, this is a hypothetical situation. A lady, she married someone. Okay? She married someone. If a lady marries a person, a man, and then she marries someone else while she's married to that person, to the first one, her second marriage not only becomes voided, invalid, she becomes haram to the second husband permanently. Permanently. You know
So
this?
that's before that time is over?
Has nothing to do with iddah.
Oh,
Of course, of course. No, he's not divorcing her.
he's not divorcing.
He's not divorcing her. Let me give you two scenarios. One scenario, a lady is married to this man. Okay, A. And while she's married to him, knowingly or unknowingly, she married someone else. That second marriage is voided and she becomes haram permanently to that second. Now, the second scenario. She is divorced from this, but the iddah is not over. She's still in the waiting period, but she rushes to someone else and marry him. That marriage is voided and she becomes permanently haram to the second one.
Similar ruling.
Hmm?
Similar ruling.
Yes.
That's in
Now,
which one?
this is the point. But if she is married, if she's married to someone where they did not have a witness, and then she married someone else, the second marriage with a witness, the second marriage is valid. Because the first one is not valid. Because she married him according to the Sunni tradition. According to this, she married him while in the first marriage without witnesses. So the marriage did not go through.
No.
So her second marriage is valid if they had witness.
Is that for both Shia and Sunni, the one, if she marries a second person?
Yes,
before-
yes, both.
Is
Yeah.
there an automatic divorce? Like, let's say,
Not divorce. أصلاً
no,
the marriage is not valid. So they did not have a marriage to be a divorce.
Right.
We don't call it divorce. They have to separate immediately.
Correct.
Would it be
Annulment.
considered adultery? Sorry.
No. Shubha. Not adultery. Adultery premeditated. This is wat'u shubha. This is less than adultery. Yes.
I said annulment. It's
Yeah, annulment, exactly, annulment. So the second marriage is annulled if she's still at the dhimma, ala dhimma. She's still linked to the first one. This is what many people don't know. They come here and they ask, before they do their divorce, they marry someone else. They marry someone else.
If they think
Why?
that's-
Because Said, he said, I don't want you. Just say he threw me out. I don't want you. And then before she does her divorce.
Let's say the husband is out of the picture for 3-4 years. They thought he died
Still.
And then she gets married and he comes back.
A divorce has to take place. Yes. Even if he's in the prison, he's convicted like Nassar. Today they convicted him 400 years. Did you hear this guy?
Wow.
400 years.
The therapist for the Olympic team? I don't know if
He,
it's a
he
therapist.
assaulted 150 females. 400 and something years. Divorce has to take place, religious divorce. If the husband does not divorce, he's out of the picture, Hakim al-Shar has to divorce. So it has to be finalized before they begin another. So this is the case, it can be used in divorce and marriage. Where else it can be used? Inheritance. One of the differences between Shias and Sunnis is that the Sunni call the idea, let me remove this, they have a concept in the inheritance, the Sunnis, they have the concept of at-ta'sib. At-ta'sib. What does ta'sib mean? Ta'sib comes from usba. Usba means family. If a person dies and he has only one daughter, in the Shia tradition, we have three categories for irth. We will study that at some time in the future. The first category are children and parents. And of course, the spouse. The spouse. The second category are brothers and sisters, and uncles and aunts. The second. The third category are cousins. So if someone dies, then the first category comes first. The turn does not go to the second and the third. Those in the first category. Now, if there is no one in the first category, it's empty, no children, no parents, then the turn goes to the second category. If there is no one in the second category, the turn goes to the third one. Now, imagine someone dies, he has only one daughter. Okay? No parents. Out of the children, only one daughter. According to the Quran in Surah An-Nisa, this daughter receives فَلَهَا النِّصْفُ مِمَّا تَرَكْ. She receives فَلَهَا, she gets النِّصْفُ, half. نصف means half. مِمَّا تَرَكْ, from what he leaves behind, the inheritance. Where does the other half go? So by fard means mandatory, the Quran, she gets fard. She gets half. And because we have another half, 50%, where does it go? Because she's still from the first category, it goes back to her, the second half. Okay? They call it another term. One of them by fard, and then arrad. The second is arrad. The first is al-fard. Al-fard, she gets 50%. Arrad means we return the second half to her because she is the only one who survived from the first category. In the Sunni tradition, look at this, please. In the Sunni tradition, they give her only half, but they don't give her the second half. The second half, they give it to whomever is left from the family.
I'm sorry, who's it? Okay, so children and parents are the first. Who's the second one? Who's the second one?
Brothers, sisters,
Brothers.
uncles, and aunts. Third, cousins.
Okay, so in the Shia, you're saying if only one daughter, she gets half and farad, and then why does she get the other one, arad, 50%?
Because she is the only one. Because the Quran says, Al-aqrabuna awla bil-ma'ruf. Since she's the closest one to the father, she gets the entire thing. Half of it, she gets it by fard, the other half by rad, because we return it to her because there is no one in the same category. She is the only survival in the same category. She is the sole survivor. So she gets the whole share.
Even if there's brothers, sisters, and cousins, right?
No.
Oh, there was nobody.
No. It doesn't reach their. In the Sunni tradition, they give her, they call it ta'sib. Ta'sib means that this part, this 50%, we give it to those who are in these categories.
In the same order.
In the same order.
What is it based upon, say it,
The two, this one, the Shia theory,
Yeah,
based upon the Sunnah of the Prophet and based upon Al-Aqrabuna awla bil-ma'ruf. Those who are closer to you, Aqrabun, they have a priority in the ma'ruf, in the goodness, in the inheritance, in the help. They should receive it first before it goes to others.
what do they base their 50% upon, or their tafsir?
Abu Hanifa. This is the opinion of Abu Hanifa.
So even Malikis and Shafi'is follow the same ruling?
Yes. We will read this theory of this one and how it goes to the daughter. We read it next time, inshallah. It's a maxim. It's a maxim that the one who's closer forbids the one who's farther. Al-aqrab yamna'u al-ab'ad. Yamna' doesn't reach to the farther. If there is a closer standing next to you, you have to give it to him. The term does not reach the one who is farther. This is a maxim. This is a hadith. Okay? So now, if the father is Sunni and the daughter is Shia. Let's say father Sunni, daughter Sunni. What should we do? We should use their theory. She gets half, the other half it goes to the family. But father Sunni, daughter Shia. And this is what happens. They come to me here sometimes from Lebanon. You know that? And other places?
Yeah, that's common, right?
She says, Sayyid, I am a Shia. How come you are a Shia? Your father is Sunni, your family is Sunni. Because of the inheritance. You know what happened? It happened.
I know Sunni is converted to.
Yeah. Sunnis, she wants to be a Shia. So she wants me to write a letter that such and such lady is Shia and she has been in my community, in my masjid, to be a witness. And I don't know her. I tell her, I don't know you. You just became Shia because your father either is dying or he's dead and you want to get all of it according to this theory. Yeah, they do. You know, at one point a Jew came to me, believe me, here. He said, write me, I am a Muslim. Because he wanted, it was about inheritance.
Wow.
Yeah, we have these cases here. Baha'is, they come here because they have a case in Iran. Wallah, they have a case in Iran in the court, so they want me to write that he's a Muslim. And I tell him, I just saw you here. I haven't seen you. If I see you in the masjid, you come, you pray, how can I, accept this?
Is there actually say like...
So some of them in Lebanon, as Nadim mentioned, some of the girls, they convert because it works for them.
So you go to daughter then.
It works for them. It goes to her because the whole inheritance, Assalamu alaikum, please. The whole inheritance goes to her.
You don't think the
So
dad
it works for them.
consideration,
Huh?
You don't think the dad who's leaving the money, the person leaving the inheritance
Into what?
into consideration of giving categories 2 and 3?
No.
You go with the person receiving it.
Of course. We go to the person who receives it. Now, if the dad is Sunni, the daughter is Sunni, then she gets only half. They have to act according to their law. But if the daughter is Shia and the father is Sunni, okay, or vice versa, the father is Shia, the daughter is Sunni, still she gets the half. We need one of them to be a Shia to act the Shia law. One of them. But if both of them are not, then you can't.
So let's say they come to you and say, I'm a Shia. Do they have to prove it for a while, or can they just say something?
Of course they have to prove it. It's not just a claim. Because the dad is dead and now I want to be and then I switch back. No, they have to. It has to have a history. You have to prove through practices.
So they have to come.
Some of them, they convert after their father's death. Do you know that? When still the case is in the court, they convert. I've seen this. Because in Lebanon, Dr. Ali and Nadim, in Lebanon, they write it in your birth certificate, whether you are Shia, Sunni, Durzi, Even the types of Christians, Maronite, Orthodox, Catholic, they write it. Because each one has a court, has a system of itself. Now we have it in Iraq. You know the same problem, we have it in Iraq now.
So they have the.
Yeah, people are converting because of the inheritance rules.
Wow.
So in this case, we have to use this maxim, ألزموهم. We use the maxim of ilzam. Even if you are a Shia judge and giving your verdict, you have to use this maxim of ilzam that they have to abide by. Binding. قاعدة الإلزام. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.